I think one of the hardest things about my job, and I think one of the hardest things about the work that I do, especially in the realm of high conflict custody and divorce, again, I hate to say it, but to me, it's become undeniably true that narcissistic type parents are just not good for kids. I've often made the argument in the past that I wish they spent as much time actually being a good parent instead of appearing to be a good parent. But I truly believe it's a matter of like they have no idea what it means to actually be a good parent. And frankly, this just not seems to be what they're interested in. And maybe they have windows or maybe they have moments of the desire to be a good parent, but usually those moments are pretty fleeting. And so my work often comes with the component of seeing kids in trouble and not being able to do anything at all to be able to help them. And that goes all around too. That doesn't necessarily involve a high conflict custody or divorce or having a narcissistic type parent. It's really just I've seen kids in abusive situations and child protective services. I did a video on this. They're useless. I hate to say it. I'm just calling it how it is. I have found them to be vastly incompetent. Calling child protective services often just really makes the situation worse. And so I want to talk about the tendency to want to fix and also the kind of the emotional readiness of kids to talk about what's actually going on. And before I get into that, make sure that you check out the description below if you want to help enable me to keep making content like this. You can hit the tip jar. There's lots of ways to do that. If you want to submit a viewer question, something that you'd like for me to potentially do a video on, you will remain anonymous. Again, the link my email address is in the description below. I feel like there's something else. Oh yeah, go check out my other channel called Wisdom and Brews. It's been a super busy week for me this week, so I haven't been able to put as much time and attention into it as I would like to. All of that being said, this is what often I find with, you have the high conflict parent and then you have what I call the apologetic parent. And again, this parent is typically, they've gotten to the mindset, their modus operandi. They basically exist in the mindset that everything is their fault. They've kind of got it programmed into them. There's a good chance that if they had a narcissistic style partner, prior to that they had a narcissistic parent. So even as a kid, they may have had a parent that just blamed them for everything and everything's your fault and this parent never does anything wrong. And sometimes a lot of those kids grow up to be caretakers because this is the only validation they could get from that narcissistic parent was to be caretaking of sorts, right? And so the kid becomes caretaking to a fault. So they go from narcissistic parent to narcissistic partner. And so because they feel responsible for all the problems, they feel responsible to fix everything. And because it soothes their personal crisis, it soothes their anxiety. And what I'm often doing is finding myself in a position with the apologetic parent, asking them to realize that this mode of fixing is erroneous in a number of ways. Now, they're already chock full of shame, and it's really, really difficult for them to maybe be willing to look at that shame. And not that I blame them. I would be in the same boat, frankly. But I find that it's really important to ask them to take a look at their need to fix and the true motivation behind that. And because they've taken so much criticism in the past because they're very hard on themselves, sometimes this can be a hard pill for them to swallow because they feel like that is almost a violation of their identity. Fixing things is what makes me good. Fixing things is who I am, which again is why I really, really, really hit hard on self-care. And self-care is more than just like drinking enough water and getting exercise. Self-care really is doing a deep dive into reinventing yourself as a human being. That is laying the foundation of reinventing yourself, changing your belief system, changing your paradigms, leaving your old identity behind and adopting a powerful new one. So when I say self-care, it's just the beginnings of all of that. And so often I say, hey, you need to not fix the kids. They really struggle with that. Again, that's what they've done for a long time. Their identity is wrapped up into that. but it's problematic because it works against them in so many ways, and and I believe that they fail to see that it's working against them because they want to fix probably more to alleviate their own anxiety than to actually help the kids. Now, I'm not saying that they're not interested in helping the kids. I really believe that they are. I truly believe that they love their kids. But I also think that they are probably more so motivated by a desire or the need to alleviate their own anxiety. And if they fix it, they will feel better. So I'm going to paint this scenario, right? The kids come home from the high conflict parents, have been there for a week, maybe two, maybe three, whatever. I know that some people are required by the court and the law to send the kids off to the high conflict parents' house during the summer for weeks on end sometimes. And the kids come home and they're just not doing very well. Maybe they're having a small breakdown. And the parent, their anxiety goes up and they want to fix. Now, I get this question from parents all the time, and they also express this. They will ask me directly, how do I fix it? And I always have to say, I need to steer you away from the idea of fixing, okay? Now, fixing, I talk about this all the time. There's basically two mindsets that I believe that you can take in these situations. It's one mindset is the worried, and the other mindset is the resiliency. And most apologetic are aligned with the worry mindset. And it's about protecting. It's overprotecting. It's about worry, fear. They're always looking too far ahead and they're struggling to be present. They want to fix. They want to protect. And that's just not lined up with the resiliency thing, okay? And fact of the matter is you can't fix people. That concept by itself is actually really problematic when you think about it. I can't fix somebody. They're not a broken transmission. It's not a leaky faucet. You don't fix them. They're a person, not a thing. And so what I find is that if the kid is in a space, the parent picks up on it immediately. What's wrong? And the kid is like, nothing. And frankly, sometimes kids don't want to talk about it, or they're not ready to talk about it. And sometimes when they're ready to talk about it, it's not on your time frame, okay? I've often used this metaphor, so please take this to heart if you're a fixer. Kids are not ready to talk about things when you're ready to talk about them. When kids are ready to talk about things, think of it kind of like a sneeze. It either happens or it doesn't, and then you can't predict it and you can't force it. It just happens or it doesn't. I mean, you can't sit there with a kid and be like, sneeze! You need a sneeze, okay? I need to fix you, so sneeze. I need you to sneeze, okay? And that creates a bad precedence. The kid feels controlled. The kid doesn't feel listened to. They don't feel validated. And they start to look at you like, why are you controlling me? And if you have a high conflict ex, and they know you're doing that, they will use it against you. I promise. They will label you as controlling. They will tell the kid that you're crazy. These are the makings of parental alienation. So if the kid, if you're ready to fix the kid and the kid is not ready to be fixed, it's going to work against you. And I have to steer people away from this idea like, the kids need to be fixed, and B, it's your job to fix them. Okay, now certainly listen to them, certainly support them. And my thing is, I call it leaving the door open and walking away. It sort of looks like this. Hey, how's it going? Fine. You seem a little down. You okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Okay, well, I can tell that maybe something's troubling you, but it's okay if you don't want to talk about it. I'm totally fine with that. I just want you to know that I care about you, I support you, and if you need someone to talk to, you know where to find me. Okay? And you leave the door open and you leave it alone. You're like, so what do you want for dinner? What sounds good to you, right? Change the subject. Move on to something else. Because if you sit there and like, I can tell something's wrong, and you tell me, and that is not going to help. It doesn't work. But again, the reason why the self-care is so important, so you are in the rational mindset of seeing that, hey, I can take a step back. I can be mindful of the moment. I can be mindful of the situation. And instead of trying to control it, instead of trying to force an outcome so that everybody feels better and we're all happy and we avoid any conflict, that's just not the healthy thing to do. That's not the healthy way to go about it. So again, this is why I emphasize the self-care. You have to focus on managing your own anxiety, your own identity. Realize that your inherent value is not centered on fixing things and fixing people. Again, I correct parents all the time. Get out of the mindset that you have to fix your kids. They're not a leaky toilet. Stop getting into the mindset, okay? And the thing is, if you just create this emotionally consistently safe environment, when they're ready to talk, they are far more likely to use you as that outlet, to come to you or to confide in you or to be honest with you. And that's really what you want. Think about the quality, not the timing. The timing, again, it's like a sneeze. And the example that I use is years ago, I was working at a treatment center. This is quite some time ago, but we had this kid who was a little bit challenging. He was kind of a tough kid to work with. And for months, we were having a hard time getting through to this kid. He was just kind of a knucklehead. And one night, he had to go over to the nurse's station for something. I don't know what it was. They needed check his temperature. I don't know. And this is a unit. It was like a cottage with 2 floors. All the other kids were upstairs, and I was standing outside, watching this kid come, and he came in, and he was taking off his shoes, which was the rule of the place, is that kids had to take off their shoes inside. And immediately, because it was just me and him downstairs, and immediately he just broke down. He just started sobbing. I mean, he was just crying like a baby and talking about how his mom didn't love him, and everybody hates me, and nobody wants me, and I don't have any friends. And he was just sobbing and completely breaking down. I said, have you ever talked to your therapist about this stuff? And he says, no. And I just kind of realized, like, it's like a sneeze. It comes out when it comes out. And you're either there to catch it or you're not. So the idea is, as a parent, to be there to catch it when it comes. And if the more you try to force it, the more they're going to try and stifle it, okay? Stop trying to fix them. Okay, thanks for watching. Hope everybody's doing good out there. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. We'll see you in the next one.